Hello and welcome to Post, the channel where we discuss all things hockey and all teams. The Los Angeles Kings, they don't get talked about enough, especially on this channel. LA is kind of one of those low drama teams. There's not really a lot of news coming out of LA very much, and I see that trend on other channels as well. And I think that just has to do with they have such a structured team. There's not a lot of pieces going in, there's not a lot of pieces going out. They've always kind of had the same core for the past I guess maybe 7 years now. You know, you got your Kopitars, your Quicks, your Doughties. It's a strong team. And I felt like now is a good opportunity to talk about them because they're off to a killer start. 4-0-1, which I believe is the best start in franchise history. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I probably am, but I think I read that somewhere. So that is awesome. I felt like they deserve to be talked about. And I wanted to run down just a few notes I made about the team because I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to Los Angeles right now, and I think they should be. And in my predictions, I slept on them a little bit, and I don't necessarily regret any of my predictions because in a way with my predictions, I love to be proved wrong because it gives me new faith in teams I didn't have faith in before. So it's a fun process, and it makes me wrong, but it's fun. So the notes I have here are, Anze Kopitar, 8 points in 5 games. Anze Kopitar had, I don't want to say a terrible year last year because he's not a terrible player. He's one of my favorite players. He didn't have a terrible year last year, but he had an underperforming year last year. And I understand it's early in the season. There are 5 games in. 5 games means nothing, right? Well, at the beginning of the season doesn't mean anything because you can bounce back from the first 5 games. But 5 games in general, think about the last 5 games of a season. Huge. 5 games means the world, whether at the start of the season or the end of the season. It only doesn't really play a factor because you can change the course of the direction of the season if you're doing poorly or well at the beginning. LA looks good now. They could trail off and be totally terrible. The Rangers, for example, their first 5 games, I think they're 1-4-0. They look terrible, but they could turn things around. So I understand the talk of, it's early in the season, but those 5 games still matter. So it's important. These 5 games are huge for LA. Dustin Brown, 7 points in 5 games. Another example of someone who completely underperformed last year. His salary in his contract was going to cause problems and still is causing problems this year and maybe some years to come. I don't know exactly when his contract is over, but so far he has, I would say, overperformed in the first 5 games. He's got 7 points. I would have never predicted that. I'm not a big fan of Dustin Brown. I don't really know why. I don't dislike him as a person from the interviews and stuff. There's just something about him I've never really been a fan of, but I'm happy that he's performing. That's great for LA. Jeff Carter hasn't scored a goal yet, which is a negative thing, I guess, because he had 32 goals last year. He had an amazing season. But if LA is doing so good right now, they're 4-0-1, and Jeff Carter isn't scoring, when Jeff Carter starts to score, is this team going to be better? I think it might be. That's kind of the mentality I'm getting from what I'm reading online. Like once Jeff Carter starts to score, this team is going to be just that much better. Drew Doughty is having an amazing season so far, and I understand it's only 2 weeks in, but it's important that we talk about this. Quick, 3-0-1. That's an amazing start for a goalie. That builds the confidence for the season. If you start a season 3-0-1, man, you got to feel pretty good. He's got a 1.74 goals against average and a 943 save percentage. Dude's on fire right now, and he's not getting enough credit that he deserves. Now, I know that everyone knows that Jonathan Quick is an amazing goalie. He has his temper issues where he throws some tantrums and stuff, but emotional stuff aside, he's an amazing athletic goalie, and I'm going to be watching him a little bit more in the next couple of weeks just because of how good LA is doing right now. It's hard for me to watch West Coast games because they're on so late, but I'm going to try to give attention to Jonathan Quick here. And Darcy Kemper, the backup, he also has 1 win. He's 1-0. He won the only game that he was in. I think he had 23 saves. He let in 2 goals, so goals against average of 2 or whatever. Not bad, pretty good. When your backup goalie goes in and wins a game for you, Man, that feels really good to the starting goalie because it takes some pressure off their shoulders. So that's really good news. The only negative thing I could really find about the team, what I felt was negative, is Camilleri. I think they gave him $1 million contract 1 year, so it's a bit of a tryout contract, I guess, but he has no points in 5 games, and he's a -1. So those numbers aren't what the Kings are looking for. They want to see. They're not expecting him to perform at Kopitar's level. They expect him to be in the middle ground, and right now he's not even on ground. He has got no points. So I hope he turns it around for his sake, because I do like Camilleri. Now, if we go through the point list in the Pacific Division, LA's in first with 9, Vegas is in second with 8, Calgary's in third with 8, Anaheim has 5, and Vancouver has 3, Edmonton has 2, San Jose has 2, and Arizona has 1. So raise your hand if you at home predicted that LA would be leading the division after 2 weeks with the Golden Knights second, and San Jose and Edmonton in the bottom 3. Go ahead, raise your hand if you predicted that. Yeah, that's what I thought, because no one predicted that. It's crazy, and this is what's great about the NHL. A team that you predicted to be down and out, like Arizona, is down and out, but a team that you also predicted would be down and out, like Vegas, not everyone predicted that, but most people did, is in second place with 8 points. That's exciting. That's awesome. It makes the NHL fun to watch. Now, you might think 5 games isn't much, but 5 games is important because the number last year to get into the playoffs in the Western Conference was 94. So 94 points. We'll just say that you need 94 points this year to get into the playoffs. It probably won't be exactly 94, obviously, but it's around that range. So 94, we'll use that. So if the LA Kings need to get 94 points, they've already got 9 points, so percentage-wise, it's like 9.5% or whatever. So they've already got 9.5% of the points that they need to make the playoffs, and we're 2 weeks into the season. That's huge. Like I said, 5 games means a lot. Doesn't matter if they're at the beginning of the season or the end of the season. 5 games is huge, and right now LA is looking really good. Their next game is against Montreal, which is probably great for them because Montreal plays terrible when they're on the road in California, and Montreal's playing terrible just in general right now. So that's probably almost a guaranteed win for LA. I'd actually bet money. If I were going to go play Pro Line, I would bet that LA would win that game. But yeah, I thought that it was important that we talk about LA because they don't get as much recognition as they deserve in the hockey world. You see a lot of Montreal talk, and we're guilty of this too. We talk a lot of Canadian teams, but I see a lot of Montreal talk, Toronto talk, Ottawa, Calgary, Edmonton, Pittsburgh, Chicago, New York. But those Western Conference teams in the United States don't get talked about enough. So LA fans, I do apologize that we haven't talked about LA as much on this channel as what you would like, but hopefully you found this video helpful and enjoyable, especially since they're doing good. And we're not talking negatively about them if they were doing badly. That wouldn't really be a fun video for you guys to watch. So I thank you guys for watching this video. Really appreciate it. If you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. And we'll see you in the next one. Adios.